This is the leadership system that I use for my coaching business. And so as we build this team, we want to add value to you as leaders and as our team, and also to create more and more even awareness with how we work together and understanding each other's voices. For me as a leader in the church space and business space, understanding how people operate is crucial when working with people. Where I was always taught when I was younger to be a profiler, and as a leader, regardless of your voice, which I'm going to speak about, and your wiring, the faster we can profile people to understand them, because it's all about being understood and understanding. And I know, if I can use my relationship in my marriage as an example, the more that we understand each other and are understood, the more communicative we are, and the more that we are able to thrive and to grow in our relationship. And so communication is so key. But to be able to communicate, we've got to understand where we're communicating from, and that is understanding ourselves, the way we're wired, how we see the world, and how we're seen by others. And so this system, again, it's just a tool. All it is a tool in a toolbox. I think, like Lee said about something else earlier on, it's a tool that we use to be able to progress and to thrive. And so the 5 different voices, and again, this is not to box, it's actually to open up the box. And it gives, again, awareness and understanding to those around us. The 5 voices, and we'll go through the next slide, which gives more detail in a moment. But the first is the pioneer, then it's the connector, it's the guardian, it's the creative, and then it's the nurturer. And so we're one of these 5, but we also have all 5 that we're made up of. And we'll have predominantly a predominant voice with a secondary voice, and then the 3 others. And the interesting part about this, so if I can use me as an example, I'm a pioneer creative. So pioneer is my first predominant voice, and creative is my second. Then I'm a connector, which I use and operate in as a leader, and how I communicate and how I operate as a leader. Then I'm a guardian, and then a nurturer. Now, the interesting point is the second last one is usually the one that you think you're okay with, that you're relatively equipped with, but is actually, I can't remember the term they use, but it's like your blind spot. It's the one that many times is the one that hurts you the most, that you're not understanding and discovering. And then your last one is more of the work area with your second last, to be aware that that is the one that also is something that needs to be worked on. So for me, that's nurturer. So the first one, we're going to start with nurturer because it's the way they've done it here. And nurturer is a champion of people, their relational harmony and values. They are actually 43% of the population. Now, as an interesting observation from my own leadership, when I was pastoring a church and I had one of my legacy meetings, which is all about buildings and future, I, as a pioneer, which is a small percentage of the population, get excited about the future, get excited about progress and opportunity. And so I remember for years and years and years standing up in front of people, excited about these opportunities, sharing about the cost, but thinking everyone's going to be excited because of what this is going to achieve, and constantly feeling like the ball just dropped in the room because people weren't excited with me. And what this has helped me to understand is that, and you'll see with the Guardian as well, we've been 30%, 73% of that room weren't what's the word? Early adopters. Nurturers and guardians are more late adopters. They need more process. So the nurturers in the room wanted to know how the people are going to feel about that. How's it going to affect the people? Have we done a consensus? All the things that, as a pioneer, which I'll explain a bit further down, doesn't even think about, and at times, without realizing, care about. And then the guardians in the room are thinking, how are we going to pay for that? Where does that money come from? So all of that's happening as I'm sharing the big vision, thinking, why are these people not behind me? And it wasn't because they weren't behind me. I just lacked the awareness in my leadership style of how to take people on a journey that each of them can be on, understanding and giving them what they need to be able to actually say, yes, we're with you on that particular project. And so this is why it's been so helpful in my leadership, and I think it's so helpful for people's leadership. So nurturers need to watch out for fear of conflict and often want to speak out, won't speak out. And when it comes to nurturers, we've got to be aware of their silence. We empower them by letting them speak first, affirming their competence and the genuine value of their contribution. So when it comes to nurturers, many times they will be the ones that stay silent. But in this model, you actually let them speak first. So if ever you're doing other meetings, doing other team groups, nurturers are the ones that we actually want to speak first so they can feel valued in the room and have their voice heard.
And in this context, I'll just jump in. We were talking about nurturers are going to potentially need to find their voice quickly around this model of direct selling because they're going to feel the misunderstanding that can sometimes come with this model. So they want to care for the people, they want to get the product on them, but they will worry a little bit around how will someone else feel, that to Stafford's point, that they're being sold something, right? Or sold this concept. So knowing that is a wonderful way to start to understand even your voice as you do this. And then we lean into that together and coach that through.
Yeah. And I would also say watching out if you have this voice, which we'll be sending you a link to do this test soon, is also watching out that you don't take things personally when someone doesn't choose to jump on board to try the product, because it's not personal, but it can be perceived that way from this lens. The second one, because of time, is creative. They're champions of future ideas, innovation, and organizational integrity. They're actually only 9% of the population. Sorry, Vanessa, I can't see when you do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
They watch out, what you need to watch out for. Creatives can struggle to communicate effectively and have idealistic perfectionist tendencies. So again, even in this model of direct selling, is being careful to not be a perfectionist about how we do this, that everything has to be perfect, that you've got to say everything perfectly, that you've got to have all the answers, watching for those things. And we empower them by, sorry, I need my glasses. This is terrible.
Hey, we need the pen to actually kick in.
I'm sort of refusing to wear my glasses because don't judge them on what they say first. Help them communicate their ideas. Let them know it's okay to be wrong sometimes. And so, again, for time with creatives, if you have them on your teams or you're working with them, understanding this and then being a creative really helps.
Bit of back and forth so far. I have a few creatives already where, moving forward with whether they're going to connect or not. So loads of collaboration, right? It's not with cynicism. It's just like, hey, can I jump on another call? Can I talk this through with you? But we learn how to really guide that voice and give it some space.
And they just really want the best. So sometimes the way they can come across is can be critical. And where really they just want to represent the product, the person, the situation the best way. Then we have guardians. I love guardians. Guardians, champions of due diligence. Basically, these are the people that keep us out of jail, I used to say to my team when I used to pastor a church. When people like me are like, let's just take the mountain, they're like, let's see how many people are on the mountain opposing us first. Like the respect of, let's not just charge ahead too quickly. They're the people of due diligence, of resources, they're the ones that have always got that resource that you need. They know the things we don't know, and they are the people that have efficient systems and processes. Everyone needs a good friend that's a guardian. They will save your life. I love guardians. 30% of the population. Guardians are risk adverse. So some of the challenges, if you are a guardian, is being risk adverse, can be negative and bring excessive critique. So it can be a no person before they're a yes. And so this is like the shadow side of the person of the voice. How we empower them is welcome their challenging critique. So again, if you have a guardian in your life, understanding that their critique is actually a form of intimacy, yes, of them wanting to help you and to connect with you. The both sides is working with them on how they come across, but not taking it personally, that they actually will say the things other people won't say, and they'll see things other people won't see. And committed to due diligence, which is so important.
So the guardians for us so far, we're noticing like a little bit more of the science. They want to see some videos that are much more around the technology, the doctors, even if they're not doctors. As soon as I've profiled a guardian, whether they don't have to have done the assessment, I'll be, pointing down the websites. I'll be circling, hey, here's some doctors' conversations on it, right? So even when it comes to working with people like that, they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, or they'll come back, and they can come back a little bit like, critical in the way they then come back and approach, but they're really just looking for more. They're not shutting it off. They're just looking for more. So if you're one of those people that's like, why don't you just get it? Why don't you just patch? I'm noticing with my guardian, like a few of you are like, yes, that's me. I'm noticing with my guardian friends jumping on board, they just need longer. They just need a bit more time, a bit more proof of concept.
But can I say that if you can bring a guardian who understands the concept into the conversation, what they have even as a natural authority to other people, then when people see them that they're in and they can explain a concept, all of a sudden the credibility of that goes through the roof. So that's why each person, each voice is so important and connected to the greater whole. The next one is connector. Vanessa's a connector. I'm sure that wouldn't have been a new revelation for anyone here. She's a champion of relational networks, collaboration, and effective communication. These are the types of people, I love it, that have like what I call no shame, can talk to anybody. Vanessa could dance on the street in front of a massive crowd and have no have no embarrassment at all. She'll give everything a try and walk away from it and not take it personally. It's just a very unique, powerful voice. They're 11% of the population. Connectors have got to watch out for always. Connectors always interpret challenge of their ideas as personal. So when a connector throws an idea in or something that they would love to do and it gets shot down or it's not gone with, they can take that personally, like it's a part of them that gets shot down. So that's something to watch out for. They're empowered. How to empower them? Give them time to share their ideas and passions and appreciate before you critique. So again, one of the things that's helped us in our marriage, from that perspective, is letting them talk, letting them share, even if they're big, wild concepts. If you're a guardian that you're thinking there is no way they could ever achieve that or do that, let them get it out. Talk about it before you start looking at the how-to and if it's even possible. Now you're laughing.
Big epic drama. Let them tell the big epic drama story with their hands.
Yeah, it may go on for 20 more minutes than it should, but if that makes them feel like they're being heard, sometimes it's worth it. Then for time, I think Garo's just joined us, so
we'll meet him in a minute.
So we'll meet you in a moment, Garo, as we just finish this. But then Pioneers are 7% of the population. They're champions of strategic vision, results focused, and problem solving. So pioneers are the ones that, so in our relationship, I connected with this product through my friend. I saw the opportunity, I could see, and I work with the strategic vision in the background of how we need to do certain things, and the problem solving. And so that's more my gift in this area, my voice. Watching out for pioneers lack sensitivity. So as pioneers, we need to, that's why nurturer is usually for many pioneers at the bottom of the scale. Need to be more empathetic, understanding sensitivities of people and process, can be unwilling to listen. It can be my way or the highway. My way is the only way. And this is the shadow side of this voice, and perceived as arrogant, which many times is just very passionate, but can be seen as arrogant. Empower them. If they're on your team, don't worry, they empower themselves. You actually don't need to empower them much. They empower themselves and just affirm their competence. They, again, want whatever you're a part of and you yourself to win. They're the protectors, natural protectors. They're many times the loyal ones. They're the ones that but want to see the vision take place, but sometimes bulldoze to get there. And so that's the 5 voices. We can do more teaching at another time on this, but it's really powerful because it helps us even on how we show up, work with people, be understood, but even as how we come across in a business like this. And I just want to finish with this, is when you understand your voice, that's a tool for you, then it helps us to start comparing to the next person on how they show up and do life or business in a certain way is going to be very different to potentially how you will. Each has their strengths, each has their genius. And the more that we understand that, then we partner together on those strengths and those genius, and we create something beautiful. So there's just a few thoughts.